I'm confident Yellowstone already told us what Kayce Dutton's CBS spin-off will be about, and I'm excited about the development. Ahead of the 1923 series finale, the news broke that Luke Grimes would star in a Yellowstone offshoot for CBS, which will reportedly be a procedural. The news made total sense to me, especially since Kayce has been involved with the military or law enforcement for most of his adult life. A procedural format means that Kayce's story won't rely as much on his family dynamic, though the Yellowstone Season 5 finale preserves that. In Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14, Kayce sells his family's Yellowstone Dutton Ranch to the Broken Rock tribe. After making a deal with Thomas Rainwater, Gil Birmingham, Kayce feels a profound sense of relief in the Yellowstone finale. John Dutton III's, Kevin Costner, son is glad to be free of his position as Montana Livestock Commissioner, used for generations to protect the ranch. Instead, Kayce settles in at East Camp with Tate, Brecken Merrill, and Monica, Kelsey Asbill, whom he saved from a life of hostility and violence by choosing not to fight for the land. Yellowstone Season 5 set up Kayce as the investigator for the Montana Justice Department. Yellowstone Season 5 reveals Kayce's next job opportunity. As a procedural, Kayce Dutton's Yellowstone spin-off on CBS will have some investigation or law enforcement elements. However, Kayce effectively rules out continuing his role as Livestock Commissioner for Montana in the Yellowstone Season 5 finale, when he hurls his badge into a nearby field. One option that CBS has would be to undo Kayce's Yellowstone Season 5 ending, watching him compromise his freedom yet again to return to the badge. On several occasions, Mo brings plenty or John Dutton convinces Kayce to return to his post, despite John's son wanting to leave it behind him indefinitely. However, I believe Kayce's show will be about him investigating for the Montana Justice Department. Yellowstone screenwriter Taylor Sheridan sets up the role for Kayce in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 3, A Tall Drink of Water. Kayce talks with Thomas Rainwater on the porch of his rented house, asking for a job to replace his employment as Livestock Commissioner. Thomas explains that Kayce can't ethically police the Native American community, and that only indigenous people should police other indigenous people. However, Mo suggests Kayce's brother could appoint him as an investigator for the Montana Justice Department, while Jamie Dutton, Wes Bentley, won't be the Attorney General anymore. I believe Kayce will still pursue the opportunity rather than deciding to continue his work as Livestock Commissioner, which would also make for a decent procedural. In their conversation, Mo remarks that Montana hasn't had a state investigator in the region for decades, making Kayce's potential new position a bit of a rarity. That brings more excitement to the prospect. Kayce could realistically secure the role, given his background. Kayce worked his entire adult life in the military or law enforcement, preparing him completely. Kayce's CBS procedural is the perfect format for his Yellowstone continuation. A procedural show supports Kayce's knack for investigative work. Kayce looking at John in Yellowstone Season 4, Episode 1. If Kayce will indeed be the investigator for the Montana State Department, then a procedural on CBS would perfectly fit the case-by-case aspects of his work. Procedural shows typically present a problem or crime at the top of an episode and solve the case throughout the installment. A procedural format would perfectly support Kayce's investigative work, where new challenges will be presented and resolved frequently. Like the other Yellowstone shows, Kayce's spin-off would undoubtedly have neo-Western elements to it, bringing something unique to CBS. Yellowstone never follows up on Kayce's potential role, probably leaving it for his spin-off to explore. Sheridan opting for a procedural format for Kayce's show means that the character won't have a story driven by a serial narrative, like the original Yellowstone series. Rather than each episode connecting and informing the next, procedurals are manufactured so that each episode can stand alone for the most part. That said, rather than lean into Kayce's life at home and his developments with Tate and Monica, Kayce's show will follow him at work. Still, since Yellowstone fans are familiar with Brecken Merrill and Kelsey Asbill as Tate and Monica, his family will likely factor into Kayce's story. Kayce's background sets the tone for his CBS procedural. Kayce is a Navy SEAL with law enforcement experience. Kayce has the right background for a procedural series, gained from his positions in the military and law enforcement. As such, we've already seen Kayce in action throughout Yellowstone. Before the series kicks off, Kayce is a Navy SEAL working in the teams, as shown in Kayce's Yellowstone Season 4 visions. He has, therefore, received some of the most rigorous military training available and worked on highly skilled operations. Kayce's training for the SEAL team certainly gives him a robust skill set, since his missions were tactically advanced but also required advanced intellect. Both would be useful in investigating crimes. Kayce also has experience working as Montana Livestock Commissioner, a position that has been passed down throughout his family. Kayce brings his SEAL team experience to the role, and we see him apprehending crimes throughout Yellowstone. Even before he took over the position from John Dutton, Kayce was working for justice, albeit a bit chaotically. Various situations present themselves to Kayce before he officially has a badge to deal with them, and he responds by helping those in need of justice throughout Yellowstone Season 1. For instance, he saves a broken rock girl, killing her abductors. Yellowstone Season 5 showed us how Kayce will operate. Kayce is a convincing investigator in Yellowstone Season 5. We already know that Kayce has what it takes to investigate for the state, thanks to Yellowstone Season 5. Kevin Costner's Yellowstone exit sets Kayce and Beth, Kelly Riley, up as the series leads, and John's son steps up in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11, 353. After he gets intel from his friend in the teams, Cade McPherson, Jake McLaughlin, Kayce uses his livestock agent badge to enter the medical examiner's office. Once inside, he asks a series of vital questions about her autopsy of John Dutton, demonstrating ways that his father's murder could have been missed.